What is good, my little turdlings? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. I've got a hot cup of soup in front of me, but it's too damn hot to eat right now. So I need to make this video as is because this news is crazy. We've already had a couple cards revealed for the @Ignister archetype, the new anime archetype coming in Ignition Assault. The premier archetype coming in Ignition Assault has the cover card and so on. And we have a bunch of cards here. We already had, what, 2 or 3 monsters already revealed for the archetype, and we get like a ton of cards here. So let's not waste any time and let's jump right into it. So this is a Cybers archetype. We'll start with Picari @Ignister. It's a level 4 light Cybers effect monster with 1200 attack and 600 defense. It has 2 different effects. Both are hard once per turns, but you can use them both in the same turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 AI spell trap card from your deck to your hand. It's pretty good, just straight +1. I don't really need to explain why that's good. Second effect says you can target an @Ignister monster you control that has a level as cost, and then its level becomes 4 until the end of the turn. I'm guessing that promotes some of your XZ's plays. I know they have an XZ's monster, possibly a synchro play. I don't remember if they have a synchro specifically, or if I think they do. Oh, we'll get there. Whatever. But pretty nice. Just searching. I mean, just that search effect's pretty nice. Next up, we have Bururu @Ignister. Keep in mind this one's light. We have a new wind one. We have another level 3 wind Cybers tuner effect monster, so we definitely have a synchro coming in hot here. 600 attack, 1000 defense. Their stats don't really matter that much. They're not staying on the field long. With 2 effects, both are hard ones per turns. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one @Ignister monster from your deck to the graveyard. Still pretty good. Still pretty good. Foolish, we know why Foolish is good. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a synchro summon of a Cybers monster, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard that was used as material for that synchro summon, except for Bururu @Ignister, and special summon it. So you synchro this with another monster, target the other monster, and revive it back, which is pretty spicy, especially since they all get you a +1 on search. Most of them do. Pretty good. This one supports your synchro plays. All right, pretty nice, pretty nice. Next we have the dark one, Doyon @Ignister, level 4 dark Cybers, 400 attack, 1600 defense, 2 effects that are hard ones per turns. The first one says, if this card is normal or special summoned, you could target an @Ignister monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Cybers monster, you can target 1 AI spell or trap card in your graveyard and add that back to your hand. So in the course of a turn, like, this card can be such a strong follow-up play. I'm thinking this one's not one of the ones that'll be a 3 of in the deck, but it can be a very strong card as a follow-up play, like later on in the duel. I mean, like, you summon this, you get a monster back. You link it off, you get another card back. And you just extend out the booty hole off of 1 card, and it's pretty good. He's my favorite design one. I just love purple. Next up, we have Achichi @Ignister, a level 2 Fire Cybers effect monster, 800, 800. Level 2, that's the lowest level there. 2 effects, once per turn each. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 level 4 lower @Ignister monster from your deck to your hand, except for Achichi @Ignister. All right, we actually have a Rhoda. We had one that searched the spell and trap cards in the deck, and actually we have one that also searches any of the monsters as well, which is really, really awesome. Second effect, if a battle involves a Cybers monster you control, at the start of the damage step, you can banish this card from your graveyard as cost. Destroy your battling monster? That's pretty interesting. I'm not too sure. Unless I remember, like, maybe one of the cards floating when it's destroyed by battle. I can't really remember exactly. But hey, maybe that's not the worst. Maybe there is some stuff that can actually take advantage of. Whatever. But the main thing is, I feel like they had to give one of the weaker secondary effects to the one that has, like, arguably the best first effect, just Rhoda. Or not Rhoda, Stratos. Sorry, I meant to say Stratos if I've been saying Rhoda this whole time. Next up, we have Doshin @Ignister. This one is, I also love this one's design for some reason. A level 1 Earth Cybers effect monster with 100 attack, 800 defense, 2 effects. Those are hard ones per turns, you already know. Something different, though. If you control an @Ignister monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Well, there you ding-dong go. That's kind of what we were looking for. I mean, Achichi, literally normal Achichi, search for Dashin, special Dashin, and make a link play. Obviously, that's not a combo in and of itself, but, like, it's nice to see that we, like, all these we're kind of normal summon reliant. Well, it's good to see we have ones that aren't normal summon reliant, so he's really cool. Second effect says you can target a Cyberse Link monster in your graveyard as cost, return it to the extra deck, and if you do, add one AI Love Fusion from your deck to your hand. Another straight +1. Wow. All right, this card's pretty good. We'll see how good AI Love Fusion is, though. Next, we have Hiyari at Ignister, a level 1 water Cyberse effect monster. 300 attack, 400 defense. 2 effects, both hard ones per turn, you already know. If you control an at Ignister monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so this one and Dashin. So maybe if you have to search these, maybe their secondary effects allows you to go for different types of plays. That's interesting. You contribute one other Cyberse monster as cost. To add one level 5 or higher at Ignister monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, this card's level becomes 4 until the end of this turn. Then, if you attributed a Link monster to activate this effect, you can add one AI's Ritual from your deck to your hand. So if you don't remember when we looked at the first set of at Ignister cards, I think we already have an Xyz, a Link 3. Was that officially revealed for Ignition Assault? And then like a Synchro, I think. And maybe it's not those, but I know it's like that. But I'm pretty sure we're going to end up with every single summoning mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is pretty awesome, especially if it works. Because we've got this guy that searches Fusion, this one that searches Ritual, and then obviously we can make Link plays. Obviously we can make Xyz plays. We have the one that makes people their levels like 4 and stuff. Pretty cool. Next up here, we have the Ritual monster we're going for. Water Leviathan at Ignister. This card's pretty cool. Level 7, Water Cyberse Ritual Effect monster with 2300 attack and 2000 defense. Obviously, it has to be Ritual summoned with AI's Ritual. And its second effect is a hard once per turn, but the others are not. If this card is Ritual summoned, you can return all monsters your opponent controls with 2300 or less attack to the hand. Wow. That is a non-destruction, non-targeting removal of every monster your opponent controls. Okay. As long as they're under 2300. Got to keep that in mind. Second effect. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Return from your graveyard to the extra deck as many Link monsters as possible. And if you do, the targeted monster's attack becomes 0. Okay. So that's like literally you bounce everything except for the big ones. And then this one just like makes a big one 1000. And then you can, pound over that. So, okay, this card's pretty nasty. I'm not even going to lie. Third effect, once per battle, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can have that opponent's monster's attack during this damage calculation only. Okay, this card's pretty nasty, honestly. This card's pretty good. Definitely not disappointed at what you can end up getting off of Hiyari, possibly making Hiyari very playable. But it is, at the end of the day, it is still a Ritual, so we'll see. Next up, we have Earth Golem at Ignister, a level 7 Earth Cyberse Fusion effect monster with 2300 attack, 2000 defense. I like his design, he looks cool. Materials are 1 Cyberse monster plus 1 Link monster. Uh-oh, where's that going? You can only use this card name third effect once per turn. After this card is Fusion summoned, you take no damage for the rest of the turn. Okay, yeah, not crazy, nothing too wild there. If this card attacks a monster special summoned from the extra deck, this card gains attack equal to its original attack during the damage step only. That is actually pretty feisty. It makes cards that are like unaffected by card effects, can't be targeted, and maybe you don't have removal. You can literally just make this guy and beat over anything, which is pretty cool. So it's nice that you have like a pretty fairly easy out in your deck to go for. And then when this card is destroyed by battle, you can target a Cyberse monster in your graveyard except Earth Golem at Ignister and special summon it. A nice little float, nothing crazy, because his effect to boost only happens when he attacks. When he gets attacked, you do not get that, so it's nice that he floats into something if that is how your opponent has to out him. And also keep in mind this could be a possible Super Poly target. Takes any Cyberse plus a Link monster. Not too shabby. Alright, next up we have a Synchro monster. This one looks badass. Wind Pegasus at Ignister. I like this one's design a lot. Level 7 Wind Cyber Synchro monster. 2300 attack, 1500 defense. Is completely generic, 1 tuner and any non-tuner. And has 2 effects that are both hard once per turns each. During your main phase, you can destroy spells and or traps your opponent controls up to the number of at Ignister monsters you control. Alright, so just wipe back row. Like, the utility in this deck seems kind of crazy. I mean, you have a pretty easy way to get synchros on the board, links, fusions, rituals, and look how much utility all of them hold. Really? Wow. Okay, so just wipe and back row. If another card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while this card is on your field or in your graveyard, you can banish this card, then target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. That's so strong. That's such a punish. If any card you control is destroyed, period, essentially, by your opponent, this card could be in your graveyard. They could have already added this. And you just get to, like non-target... Oh, no, it does. It does target, but you're just, like, a shuffle of any card. Wow. That's actually so strong. That's so strong. I feel like this card's so good. Maybe it's not as easy to make as you'd think. I don't know. But that seems so strong to me. Next up, we move to a field spell at Ignister AI land. Field spell, you can only use this card's second effect once per turn. If you control no monsters in your main monster zones, you can activate this effect. For the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters except for Cybers, even if this card leaves the field. Also, special summon one level 4 or lower Cybers, or level 4 or lower at Ignister monster from your hand, and if you do, you cannot special summon monsters with its original attribute by the effect of Ignister AI land for the rest of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. So I'm guessing since the first effect is not a hard once per turn, you'd be able to like activate a second one, or since it can be activated more than once a turn, I mean, and this effect wasn't hard once per turn, you could activate a second copy of this, use it again, especially summon another one, but you wouldn't be able to like do multiple copies of the same attribute monster, which is not that crazy of a restriction, but pretty nice because they do seem fairly normal summon reliant. So this could be a very important card for getting them out of your hand, because you get them out of your hand and you're just going to plus and plus and plus and plus based off of how they work, which is pretty good. And then also, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one at Ignister monster from your graveyard to set this card back to your field. Okay, and it comes back. Wow. Okay. Really strong card. Not too bad, not too bad. Then we have Idling Born. Idle Born. I don't know. Reborn. Spell, quick play. It's a quick play spell card. You has two effects. Both are hard ones per turn. Target one at Ignister monster in your graveyard. It's cost. Special summon it, and also for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you are locked into special summoning just Cyberse monsters. Not that big of an issue. When an attack is declared involving two monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard and one card from your hand, then target an AI spell or trap card in your possession that is banished or in the graveyard and add it back to your hand. I mean, that's not a terrible effect. I mean, battle's going to happen if you have monsters at some point, probably. And you just banish this and you get to add an AI card back from your graveyard to your hand. Not too shabby. I mean, not the best, but obviously you're using this mainly for the Monster Reborn effect first. That's like the most important part of this, but still, that works. Cool, cool. Next up, we have AI Love Fusion, a normal spell card. You can only activate one per turn. Fusion summon one Cyberse fusion monster from your deck. Using monsters, use it from your extra deck. Using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. If you use an Ad Ignister monster in your possession as fusion material, you can also use up to one link monster your opponent controls as fusion material. I freaking knew it that that card was too generic, taking just any link monster, that it was going to be like the Salamangreat fusion card. Wow, okay, this card is awesome. This card's pretty cool. I mean, you get to make that pretty cool fusion guy. He may not be the best card in the world, but when you're just landing on a beat stick that floats at the cost of one monster and an opponent's monster, not too shabby. And it's also like non-targeting, non-destruction removal, which is just always good. So maybe it's just a one-of, nothing crazy, but you play it at one because against link decks, it can be very, very strong. And on the last card here, we have AI's Ritual, a ritual spell card. This card is used to ritual summon any Cyberse ritual monster. Okay, that's actually kind of spicy. Because we do have that one guy, I think. Okay, Choose one Cyberse Ritual monster in your hand, and if you do, tribute other Ad Ignister monsters from your hand and or field whose total level equal or exceed the chosen monster's level, and after that, ritual summon the chosen monster. If you control an Ad Ignister monster at activation, you can also use Ad Ignister monsters in your graveyard by banishing them. Alright, so that's pretty cool as long as you controlled an Ad Ignister monster. It doesn't even say you had to use that Ad Ignister monster to like pay your costs. You just had to control one and you could just banish them from grave. It's only a level 7, so you need just like a 3 and a 4 or a couple different ones like him and him or him and there or whatever. You know, it's not all that bad. All right, so we pretty much have all this stuff. Plus, I think we have the XCs and we have like a link as well. So we literally cover every summoning mechanic with just those. The deck looks pretty good. I mean, honestly, like there seems like there will be no problem with maintaining a lot of advantage in this deck. I'm not sure how much everything will come together. It does seem like the deck is a little bit spread out. I'm sure we will find builds that decide that either the fusion's not good enough, the ritual's too cloggy, the whatever, you know what I mean? And people may decide to shy away from those versions and some of the summoning mechanics that way. But for the most part, I mean, how much advantage this deck gets like already seems very, very strong. Seems consistent. We already have, you know, 3 Signet Mining. We have Lady Debug, but I'm not sure. This deck may already be too normal summon reliant to rely on like Lady Debug like that, but we'll see. The deck's pretty crazy. You have a lot of utility between your Ritual, your Fusion, your Synchro, your Link, and your XCs. You have a lot of utility in removal, in going for game for a lot of damage, in removing back row, removing monsters, anything really. So I'm really looking forward to see how this deck actually comes together once all is said and done. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's it for my review of this archetype. We got a ton of cards here. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know how excited you are for this deck. Let me know if you think it's going to be good or not. And yeah, I'm going to leave it off there. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you haven't yet, just subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 500. Which doesn't seem that much, but to me it's a lot, and it matters to me. So, I don't know. Whatever. Thanks, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Eat my soup. Peace.